Why is it so important to clearly communicate what you do, and what advice do you have for the anchors, Dan?
Well, this week we got an interesting voice note telling us how shit we are at communicating what we do.
Oh, starting there.
Well,
Nice.
and I actually want to set the scene for you, Lloyd, and the anchors. You haven't heard this. I want to play a segment of that voice note now because it will set the scene for the rest of this episode where we're going to share lots of useful insights and things.
Okay, intriguing.
So here's a segment from that voice note.
I think you guys clearly offer something really valuable. But on looking at it a few times for 30 seconds at a time when I haven't got time to look deeper into it. That sounds really harsh. I mean, like, neither will clients, potential clients. I can't understand what it is that you guys make. So I just thought that might be helpful feedback. You could also feel free to totally disregard. But also, just wanted to say I think you guys are great. So I hope you're well.
So I just want to say, firstly, thank you to Lauren Ingram for sharing that feedback. I sort of teed that up with, she said how shit we were, but genuinely that was really useful feedback. And I think this has been a bit of an aha moment for me. I don't know about you, Lloyd.
Yes, I just want to say to the anchors, we fucked up. I always want to be transparent with the anchors, and I want to say I'm sorry. We fucked up.
We actually did, didn't we?
We've been getting leads and sales through our social for so long, we forgot how important a website is.
We did. This is the genuine truth. I feel like we have done a really brilliant job at communicating to the outside world on social, but when it comes to our website, and Lauren just reinforced this, it's just so confusing.
Yeah.
It doesn't really talk about what we do.
I do think the big lesson for us here, and I think for anyone listening, no matter where you get your sales and leads or where you might get in front of people, because a lot of our stuff, you as business anchors listeners, you probably know is online and on social and through this podcast. And sometimes we get direct inquiries where people just a lot of the time actually will DM us through social and stuff. But in reality, most people, especially if it's a purchasing decision that is going to be a bit of money, they'll look at your website before they choose to get in contact with you. And thank you, Lauren, because hopefully this won't happen in the future, but I reckon we've been missing out on crazy amounts of opportunities because people would have seen our stuff online, they would have loved it like loads of people do, which is really nice, thank you everyone, looked at our website and then thought, oh, maybe not for me then, not really sure what they do here.
How did it make you feel hearing that feedback?
Excited.
I was not expecting that.
No, just because we've been through this over the last few days and stuff because you received that. I hadn't heard it directly, but you told me about the feedback and it really made us think. And I kind of immediately am excited by the opportunities because it is that thing. I just think, oh shit, probably for the same amount of work we're currently doing with our marketing, we could get double the sales, double the opportunities and things because there's so many people going there now and going, I don't really get what they do, so I guess I'll just carry on with my day.
I just want to say hats off to Lloyd as well because this is, and if you're a business anchors listener, you may have heard us mention this type of thing in a few episodes before. This is a classic case of Lloyd mentioned this a year ago and it got sort of pushed to the bottom of the pile and then we got busy and then now it's got to a point where it's a real issue that we're doing this amazing work, we've upped our game, but when people actually go to the place to find out, what is it they do? What problem do they solve? How could they help me? It's not communicated in a way that's useful and up to date with what we actually do and deliver now.
I think that's a tough thing for businesses. When things are going well, things like this can slip under the radar. Slip under the radar? Don't think that's the same.
I was expecting net.
I'll slip under the net. Yeah. Oh, slipped under my radar again. Because things are going well, so you may not notice these things that are really underperforming because you've got things that are really overperforming. It's making up for it. But like Dan said, over time you start to realize, I was looking at our performance with SEO and stuff like that and our website traffic, and I was thinking, this isn't going in the right direction. What's going on here? Because all our other metrics are kind of going up within the business. What? It doesn't make sense. This is going down.
The good thing is, we know why it's going down.
Yeah.
We're not putting any time and energy to improve it. We're not putting any time and effort into to actually making it better. So
I think that's very relatable as well. Not having the time, and then we looked at our website. Once you actually look at it after about a year, we're like, oh shit, we're much better than this website makes us look.
And this is a really important episode for any of you anchors to listen to if you want to get better at communicating what it is you do, because we've kind of, after getting this feedback and we've been thinking about it for a while now, we've been started to work on figuring out how we can better communicate what it is we actually do. And I wanted us to do this episode to kind of share our journey and where we're at with the anchors and what we've been thinking about. And there's also some really interesting models and things we've been using that I'm going to talk through as to how we're better communicating what we do.
Yeah. I think the next part of this episode is basically going to be a bit of a guide that we've learned from now of how can you communicate clearly what you do, you anchors out there.
So anchors who are listening, Lloyd, and thinking, I want to get better at communicating what I actually do. Like what have been our considerations whilst going through this process, the thing that they might need to think about that could help them?
One big thing that sounds super simple when you say it, but I think is really fundamental and important and often not done, is thinking from the perspective of the customer. Like if you're writing website copy or you have a team of people who are working on your website and you're sort of trying to communicate what you want, often it's a lot of talk. Well, we do this. We've got this product. We offer this service. We do this. And it's like, in reality, the customer doesn't care much about what you do necessarily in many aspects of it, but they care about what they care about and what it's going to do for their business. I think that's something fundamental. Lots of businesses, us included, fall into that trap of, well, we do this service. Tell them about this. It's like, no one wants to read that page on graphic design. They want to know why this graphic design is going to solve all their problems or the specific problem they have or the niche that you work in. And I think there's something that I overheard in our office, and it kind of links with this.
Go on.
But the kind of perspective of customers and outside and like internally in your business. I've heard people describe a set of our customers as low value retainer clients. And like internally, like I'll explain what that means in a minute, and it's not as bad as it sounds. Yeah. But that's just one thing.
Sounds like an insult.
Yeah, imagine that. Imagine if we said to our client, like, "Oh, you're a low value retainer client." That probably to them makes them sound like, "Oh, right, that sounds like I'm not important to your business, and like I'm just this like."
Which isn't the case at all.
Yeah, and what people actually mean is like, we're talking about the clients that are we work with on a kind of lower value, so we have less resources
in terms of the monetary value of what they're paying us
to it. It's not like low value as in the shit, we don't care about them. But that's another thing. Like I see businesses communicate with their clients or potential customers like they communicate internally, maybe not to that extent, and they wouldn't say, hello, low value client. But language used is because you're in your bubble of your industry, sometimes you don't realize you're doing it.
Do you know what a real life example of feedback you've given me before? It just made me think of it. You told me off before for like saying to clients, let's book in a pitch where basically it's saying, let's book in something where I can sell to you. Like, and it's not like, it is that in a small way, but it's really like, let's figure out a plan together that we should.
Dan, previous clients, we've been working on, all right, we can do a paid ad campaign for you. And I was like, oh, let's have a look at your landing pages and like what your kind of call to action currently is for people to get in contact with you. And it says book in a sales call. And
I never want to book in one of those.
Like internally for your business, you might see that as a sales call. Like so someone getting in contact and you're speaking to them and hopefully selling your service. But no one as a customer wants to book in a sales call. They want to book in some way to talk to you about opportunities, but they don't want to book in a sales call. That sounds horrendous. They're like, oh no, if this guy's just going to try and sell stuff to me, that is not a call I want to be on.
I really think that, like, as an actionable thing that I'm just thinking about that we definitely need to do as well as the anchors is to actually look at all of your website and imagine you're your customer, and any sort of jargon or like stuff that you would use internally, you need to get rid of that and think of it. Think in the shoes of your customer when writing the copy for your website.
Yeah, 100%.
Something that I am really pleased you brought up is this point about putting your customer first, because there is an amazing book that all of you anchors should be reading called Building a StoryBrand by Donald Miller. That like we just talked about all that stuff, then it basically sets out a really specific framework, actionable framework to use to actually improve how you storytell and how you position what you do in a like really cool framework that I think the anchors will get a lot of value from if we kind of go through it. And talk through how they can do it.
Nice. So you actually know a lot more about this. Have you read this book?
Yeah, I read this book like years ago.
Okay.
And then when we were doing this topic and when we were looking at our website and stuff, it reminded me of it. And I've read back through, like the summary of it. And it was all coming back to me. And then I've got some examples to do with our company and what
It's
we've
funny.
done.
You did go, I just thought for that episode, we should talk about building a story brand. Suddenly you like had all these ideas flowing through.
Yes.
So what is building a story brand then, Dan?
So it's a book that it kind of talks about how, as a business, you should think about communicating what you do in a similar way that like a movie does, like a movie tells a story.
Yeah.
So there's like a hero character and they go on a journey and that kind of thing. And one of the key things that this is actually the first point that's just diving straight into it is that this ties into what you said, Lloyd, which is why it made me think of this. The customer is the hero, not your brand. Every story begins with a character who wants something. And as businesses, like we fall into that trap of thinking that we are that hero in the story. Like you said about writing copy on your website, we've got these design services or like no one, the hero of the story is the customer. And you need to be writing to them rather than positioning yourself as kind of the like hero of that story. Yeah. So for example, quick example, like, have you seen the film Born Identity?
Yes.
Okay, so if you were watching Born Identity and if you didn't realize at the start that like Jason Bourne was the hero of that story and he's got a problem that he's trying to solve, you wouldn't be like drawn into that story and want to kind of watch the rest of it. So you need to think in the same way as a business and understand that your customer is the hero of the story.
Okay, so for our business, we shouldn't really be talking about us because we're not the hero.
Yeah.
But who would be our hero then?
So for us, the heroes of our story would be marketers from brands and founders of companies.
Okay.
They're the people that we want to be creating content around and positioning them as the kind of hero.
It's such an interesting point because even for this episode, when we were prepping it, part of my feedback that I gave to Dan initially when we were talking about what we were going to discuss was like, I think this is too much about us because obviously at the start we told a story, I guess you can say telling a story about like how we've had this revelation with Lauren's help of like, oh man, we've not been doing this very well at all, and then how we're overcoming that. And then we were like, oh yeah, we could talk about everything we've done. And then I was like, oh, that's just talking about us all the time. And I suppose it's exactly the same in your marketing. Like if it's all about you and you never talk about anything that helps the hero in the story, it's never going to work.
It is honestly challenging because I don't know if this is just me, but I automatically go to talking about us. Like it's a real... Maybe that's just the me thing, but like it's a real challenge to actually stop myself saying, we've done this, we've done that, here's what we can do. Because I'm proud of what Knowlton is.
As a business owner or someone leading a business, you're proud and passionate of what you're working on in most cases. So I do think massive challenge not to go to that and be like, oh, I'm excited about this thing.
Yeah. And then it goes on. So that's the first key thing you need to understand. And like as an actionable takeaway for anchors going through this process, ask yourself, who is the hero in your story? And that sounds like way fluffy and cheesy, but like it's basically like, who is your target market?
Who's your hero?
Yeah. So who's the hero in your story and map that out. The next thing, again, I love the way that the book like talks about this like a movie. So it's like the next part is the hero has a problem.
Okay. Oh no.
And in the book it says that companies tend to sell solutions to external problems, but companies tend to sell solutions to external problems, but customers buy solutions to internal problems. So you need to be thinking about what problems does your hero have? Your hero is your ideal customer that you solve. And that's the next part that you really need to start mapping out. So
our heroes that you said, like marketers and in brands and founders and stuff, they're not going to be happy with their current results they're getting from the marketing, and they want to generate a better return on investment.
Yeah, exactly. And
probably wouldn't be a good film.
No, no, but it does start when you start to go through this process. It really does make you think about your customer, who's the hero, and their problems. So definitely as like an action for this phase, really do think about what are your customers' problems. And if you're kind of struggling, like to just name these, then why not go and speak to them? Like actually ask them Like, what are the key challenges you're facing in this certain area? That could start to give you ideas to come up with these kind of things.
Definitely. Nice. So where do we go from there?
So we know we've got a hero in the story.
Yeah.
We know we've identified the problem they have. The next part is interesting. So I would normally go to, okay, we've got a solution to sell them.
Yeah.
Right?
That's his hero. They're in trouble and we're going to save you.
No. But in the book, right? In the book, the third step is basically outlines that the customers aren't looking for another hero. They're looking for a guide.
I like that because that completely changes the dynamic of the relationship between you both.
Exactly.
And thinking about it, like our best relationships we've ever had with clients aren't the ones where we're like, we're this amazing business. We've solved this for you. There you go. Have it. It is like when people come to us and they're like, oh, I'm really struggling with this. I'm not sure. And we kind of guide them down a path. And sometimes we're able to help them for a period of time and then kind of like let them fly on their own after a couple of years.
So
you know
cheesy.
I mean?
This is like
cheesy, isn't it? But I do think it changes the dynamic, thinking that you're like guiding them to this success rather than just like, we're the best. We're going to do this for you. You're helpless and we're just going to save you.
Do you want some more cheese?
Yes, please.
So this is how it positions it in the book. You're not Luke Skywalker. You're Yoda. You're not James Bond. You're Q. And like, that is so cheesy. But when you think about it, you are that supportive, guiding person rather than the main person in the movie. Like, they are the hero. You're the guide.
Hero they are. Guide we are, as Yoda would say.
Yes, exactly, Lloyd.
Yeah,
exactly. And the kind of the key takeaway from this part is to understand that when your customers come to you, don't talk about what you're trying to do. Lay out the journey that you take them on. Like, rather than, right, I know you're the hero. I know you've got a problem. Here's our solution. Yeah. Actually talk about the process that you go through with helping them to solve that problem rather than your service. It's
so tempting to make yourself the hero in this story, I think, and trying to be the hero rather than guiding them. But I guess our version of this would be, rather than us producing loads of content saying, this is what we do for you, we're going to solve your problems, we have like this podcast where we talk through, and hopefully like going through this, we're kind of trying to guide people in like learning, and maybe after this then they'll read this book or then they'll take this journey and kind of guide them through the right path. We're bloody doing it then.
I know, like, and think like to be critical of us, I think we've been shit at doing it on our website. Like, we have just been the people saying, here's our services. Like, what we
here's our services, and by the way, they make no sense.
Yeah, exactly. But what I feel like we're good at is we are good at being guides on a lot of other platforms like this podcast. We're constantly talking about the journey we take customers on and what we're learning and how you can do the same. And through our other content and our videos that we create, we provide a lot of educational content. We really do like share everything we know up front to attract customers and prove that process works.
Yeah, so we have, I suppose, to be less critical of ourselves, we've been rubbish with our website, but there's other places in our business where we do this well. Like this podcast, hopefully. Yeah.
No, I'm not saying we're like absolute dog shit, but the whole reason
that's a good sales technique.
No, the whole reason
we are absolute dog shit.
Sorry, no. What I'm talking about is dog shit at communicating the amazing work we do on our website.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely believe, and the data and evidence and our case studies show that what we do is brilliant. Yeah. And not blowing our own trumpet, but it is. We've just been really shit at communicating that anywhere on our website, which is...
Is it true Marilyn Manson could blow his own trumpet? I read that somewhere.
Is he the guy that took the
rib thing?
The rib out?
Is that just like a myth that everyone hears at school? You know, like Neil Buchanan from Art Attack's dead, but he's not.
Is he the...
And Kel from Keenan and Kel died. He didn't either. Just one of those things. Is Marilyn Manson getting his rib removed so he could blow his own trumpet?
I don't know.
Who knows? Let us know, listeners.
But thanks for that, Lloyd.
That's all right.
So the next part... so we've got the hero, they've got a problem, you are the guide. Yeah. The next part is understanding that the hero trusts a guide that has a plan. Okay. So we kind of touched on this in the previous part about communicating how you help them. Yeah. But this is where you really need to get good at not just saying, we've got these services, we do this, we do that. It's like, you have this problem. Here's the journey we'll take you on to solve that problem. Like, for example, whenever we speak to customers, a lot of the time people come to us like, how much is a video?
Yeah.
And it's like, there's literally, there's so much variation depending on what you're trying to achieve, how big your goals are, what kind of production level you want. So we take customers on a journey of having an initial discovery call to ask lots of questions to really understand.
And do you know what? Like you usually do these calls and I overhear them, but I think you're really good at them. And I think you are brilliant at like showing them that journey and that plan and how we work. Because obviously we've worked with lots of customers and had big successes, and you kind of take them down that journey that we've taken other customers down, and it's really clear. I suppose what we've been rubbish in the past is doing that on our website. And I think even as our team have started working on it, there's things like kind of timelines of the processes we work through and stuff like that. And I'm reading it thinking, shit, there was, if people are kind of considering working with us and not sure how it works, now they're going to see like, oh, okay, that's kind of how this works. Obviously we don't tell them all the answers and exactly how it's going to happen, but that
this
plan.
has been our big mistake. Our big mistake has been communicating that process too far down the customer journey. Yeah. Right?
Only if they get in contact with us and like, please tell me how this is done.
So if you think like we're missing out, and again, trying to provide you guys value, like think if you're doing this. So at a base level, the foundations you need to make this all work is you need a good process to take a customer through to help them achieve their problems. So if you haven't got that, work on that. Like, what is your process that the customer goes through? That's the base level. And we've got that. We've got a very good process to do that, and it's proven to work. But then the next level is where we made the mistake, is how are you communicating that early on so that you're not missing out on opportunities who are kind of shopping around? Yeah. We are good at communicating that once someone gets in touch further down that customer journey, but not up front. So again, make sure you're communicating that up front and not missing out on those opportunities like we have for a while. Hence us, going through this process now.
It's interesting as well. Like we've had a couple of clients in the past where we're like working things out, and we're like, "What's your conversion rate then?" And they're literally like, "Oh, if we get someone on a sales call, we convert 90%." Like we've had a few businesses like this. It's like, what? 90%? Right, okay. Yeah. And then like clearly the challenge is there. Like you'd have a $1 billion business if you converted 90%. Yeah. But like they don't get enough. They don't communicate until they get on that sales call. So they're like, oh, we're not doing many sales calls. As soon as people actually understand what we do, they're converted.
So we've got to this point where you know who the hero is. You know they've got a problem. You are the guide. You've got a plan to help them solve that problem.
Yes, I have.
The next step 5, which is really crucial, is that customers won't take action unless you challenge them to take action. Like there's lots of people out there who understand what you do and how you can help them, but they just need a poke or a prod to actually say,
go on then.
Yeah.
You're going to do anything, are you?
Get in touch and find out. And this is the cliche marketing tip of like, have consistent calls to action everywhere. But it's such an important point. You need to be telling your customers to get in touch with you. I'll give you a real life example of this actually that worked that I'm I was about to say I'm pitching today, but we don't say that.
No, we're not.
I'm presenting to today to show
for us to work. Show our plan.
To show our plan.
Be a guide.
Right. So I did a call to action based post on LinkedIn a couple of weeks ago where it was very specific, and I asked anyone who is looking to attract decision makers in the health and safety sector. We have generated £1 million contract for a company that is targeting those people. We really understand how to do it well, what works and what doesn't. If you're looking to attract those as customers, get in touch. Someone got in touch, saw that, and I'm presenting to them today, and I really believe we can help them because we've proven success with another.
Saying, what, you've been watching our stuff and you've been looking at our website and you still haven't got in touch, even though you know that we have a plan to get you this thing you want.
Interestingly as well, to back up my point, so this person got in touch, and when I looked through the messages on LinkedIn, the guy had messaged me like a year ago asking some advice and back and forth, but probably because we hadn't had those calls to action or improved the way we communicate what we do, hadn't got in touch. So once I actually challenged them to get in touch, he did. So
go on, are you gonna do this then?
Yeah. Nice. Exactly. So, definitely make sure you have clear calls to action. Last 2 bits of this, Lloyd, and then we'll move on. So this is an interesting one that I was kind of like, it got me thinking, and I'm interested to hear your take.
Okay.
So you've now challenged people to take action.
Yeah.
in the book, Donald Miller says the next thing is that every human being is trying to avoid a tragic ending.
Right.
And you need to basically communicate by investing in your services, what are you avoiding? What negative thing are they avoiding happening? If that makes sense. I can get that really badly. But like, for example, let's take us as an example. If you're currently investing in marketing and it's not achieving what you want to achieve, you're basically burning money. So you're losing a lot of money. So if you want to avoid burning money and having a failing business, work with an agency like us that's got a proven track record of delivering a trackable return on investment.
If you don't point out that tragic ending as well, we can all get caught up in the day to day, and then it's like you just, oh yeah, I'm just used to spending that $4,000 a month with that marketing agency, or like on that pay-per-click advertising. And it's like, what do you get back? Oh, I don't really know, nothing much. And when you point out, like, are you happy to continue burning money every month? Yeah. Like, is that really the way you want to die?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Really?
I mean, like, yeah, you can go really. This is why this one, I had a bit of a question mark over it, because I was sort of like,
I feel a bit like that as well, because it's kind of like I kind of get how
I don't want to like manipulate people.
No, but sometimes you need to point out, like, this all looks great stuff you're doing, but what about this stuff that you're fucking up? Yeah, like surely you want to do something about that. Yeah. But I think you've got to be careful not to be like, if you don't work with us, you're probably going to hate your life and be a shit person. Yeah. Although, like, just so you know, anchors, that unfortunately is the case. Yeah, exactly. But, you know, we don't want to point it out. But
there are ways of like clever copywriting on your website to address. Yeah. Like we do a lot of this with content, with like the problem solution model, like talking about, if you've got this problem and you don't address it, this could happen.
We've described it in our video content as light bulb moments in the past, where it's like someone's just kind of like, oh, my marketing's all right or whatever, and then you kind of say a sentence like,
if you carry on doing that,
do you get frustrated every time you look at your marketing budget because you think you're not getting anything back? And someone will go, oh shit, yeah, I do. Yeah, I should do something about that.
Yeah. The final one as well, number 7, again is a bit fluffy. So I'm like, I'm interested to hear what you think.
So the building story brand tails off at the end of it for the story. It's not a great ending.
No, this is just my personal opinion, but I'll be interested to you. So this is how he positions it at the end. Step number 7 goes, never assume people understand how your brand can change their lives. Tell them. And he talks about, like, you need to show your potential customers and get them to envision their life once working with you and visualize it, like how much of a better situation they'd be.
So,
and so
it's like,
it's all a bit,
I know maybe you're not going to pay this membership fee to be a member of this golf course, but oh God, imagine those Sunday afternoons. You just had a gin and tonic in the clubhouse bar. Yeah. You walked down with your mate Trevor talking about fishing.
Yeah. Let me just read this little segment from the book, because this gives you the vibe of it. Which, so I say, both your website images and your sales copy should help your customers envision life with their problems solved. Ooh. Show them what their life can be like without toothache, with more money in the stock market, with their lawn looking amazing, or loving the way those clothes feel or fit. Okay. We have got to critique this a bit. Like, it gets a bit cheesy.
Getting a bit too passionate about this subject, I have to say. Imagine your life without toothache.
Yeah. But like, again,
I'm doing it.
Taking it a less cheesy approach. And we
imagine
do this
your life with less cheese.
We do this as a less cheesy way of, like, I guess, showing examples of what other brands have achieved working with us. Yeah. This is what their lives, this is how we've changed their lives because they've achieved millions of pounds of tracked sales. Yeah.
Imagine.
Yeah. So it does cheese off at the end a bit, but I genuinely, I know it's gone, a bit cheesy at the end, but I honestly think it anchors who are looking to better communicate what they do. If they follow these 7 steps and take action, it's going to improve what they're doing and help them sell more.
I think so. Obviously, we've learned from this, and we've been, and we're quite transparent about this. And I think any business, even if you think you're doing really well with your marketing, like, it's a constant learning journey. So there's definitely points from this that you can be like, okay, actually. We're a bit too much of the hero, even though we're doing some good marketing. It's all about, we do this great stuff. Bit like us talking about this, but talking about our business the whole time in this episode. We're going through this, okay, guys? We're working through it ourselves.
I want to take some inspiration from point 7 now, and I want you all to imagine your lives after leaving a review for Business Anchors.
Oh, God.
Imagine how good you'll feel.
I would feel great.
Helping the podcast reach more people and change more lives.
Oh, so selfless.
Leave those reviews now. And imagine how good you'll feel if it's a 5-star review versus a lesser star review.
Oh,
Your life will change. Lloyd, those noises.
I'm sorry, it's just how I would feel. And imagine how great you'd feel if you came back next week and listened to next week's episode that's all focused around happiness.
It actually is. I'm really excited for next week's episode.
Imagine.
I'm imagining.
Just imagine if we could see you in your ears next week. Oh.